If I find time to play a little,
you are going to play a little.
Nothing to do.
Jeremy Fowler released his annual top 10 QBs, list compiled by coaches, scouts, and executives. Mahomes still got the #1 spot. Last year, Brew, we brought out the board. Remember? He was like, Ramsey, one guy didn't have Mahomes.
Yeah. I don't understand why the board isn't out here.
Why isn't the board out here? Ramsey's here today.
Do you want to? I'll answer that when you. Do you want to finish your thing?
Mahomes' grip on the top spot is loosening slightly. After dominating the voting with back-to-back #1 rankings in convincing fashion, Mahomes garnered around 60% of the first-place votes this year. Still impressive, but well short of last year, when he received all but one first-place vote.
Yeah, okay.
Holy cow.
So let me address all this. First of all, as far as is his grip loosening.
Ramsey, the board!
No, there's no board, and I'll explain why in a second. But if the voting, it seems, was like, for the #1 spot, 60, 20, 10, 5, 5. So if that were New York's upcoming mayoral election, I think that would be like a landslide, right? So the reason last year the board was deserved for one guy not voting him, but this year it is not, is because last year Mahomes was the back-to-back defending Super Bowl MVP who was only 1 year removed from, in the argument, for the single greatest season any quarterback's ever had, when he set the all-time yardage record, when he was the first player to win MVP and Super Bowl MVP in the same year since Kurt Warner, all of that. This last year, if people want to doubt him, I'm just used to it, because it is a tradition unlike any other that around this time of year, people are like, you know, maybe somebody's better than Patrick. And so, what, KW?
Out the board.
No, I'm not bringing out the board for this. Because, because the narrative right now is, oh, it's the fear factor's gone because they saw what that defense did to him in the Super Bowl, which is the exact same narrative that existed after the 2020 season when Tampa Bay did something very similar in the Super Bowl. And then, by the way, the year after the Tampa Bay thing, it was, man, post Tyreek Hill, I wonder what Patrick Mahomes is going to look like. Post 2022, people shut up mostly because of everything he did on the bum ankle and the year and the MVP. But then midway through that season, the 2023 season, people started chirping again. And it was like, what's wrong with the Chiefs? What's wrong with the Chiefs? And last year, people were, they were the most fraudulent undefeated team and the worst one-loss team. And then they, of course, went back to the Super Bowl and had one of their worst years ever, which was 3 total losses and a Super Bowl loss. And so I'm not surprised by the Mahomes skepticism because it existed. It's existed in some form every year of his career except for one, and the one it didn't, it popped up by October because people get bored of the obvious, which is that this guy's the best player in the league. So I'm not that bothered by it.
Well, look, I hear you. I've said I believe this is the last year that Mahomes, if he goes out again and has a mediocre season by his standards, like he has to me the last 2 years, because what he's been riding on, let's keep it real. Now, he's been great on third down. I think the best quarterback in the league in third round. He's been great in the playoffs.
Right.
But through the regular season, the last 2 years, it's been about quarterback wins. His individual play has not been great the last 2 years. And I still give him the benefit because we've seen him be great. So it's not like you don't know if he can be just individually awesome.
But can I ask you a question on that? Let's say this year he is mediocre in the regular season.
It's the same as last year?
Same as last year.
15-1?
And no, they're 12-4, and he's mediocre in the regular season. And then in the playoffs, sees Lamar and outplays him, sees Josh and outplays him, and then they play Washington in the Super Bowl and they lose. He plays, but he doesn't get a night. So they don't win the Super Bowl, but Washington's a bad example because maybe some people would say Jaden. They play the Niners. They play the Niners, and it's not a demolition like it was against them, but they lose. But once again, the guys who were saying could be the best player in the league are on the same field as Mahomes in a game that matters, and he outplays them. are we then going to say one of those guys is better? I need that to happen.
I honestly, that's a great example.
Doesn't win the Super Bowl,
certainly
but beats
think
those
that
guys.
60% would drop, and it might be somebody else ahead of him. You're right. I mean, because I was going, my illustration was going to be like if he's mediocre this year, they win 11 or 12 games, lose in the first or second round
then
of the
it's
playoffs,
open.
then
Yes.
he will not be number one.
That's right.
Your illustration is interesting, but look, because these are the last 2 years. This is fair. I mean, the team has been great. They've been winning, but the last 2 years, his ranks, it just hasn't been Patrick Mahomes-esque.
So I totally agree with that. Here's the problem that I have. The guys who he is supposed to be competing with, all of them in this stretch, had their shot. In Josh's case, multiple times, but in a spot, all of us, and the whole world knows they agree, that if it were reversed, we would have expected Mahomes to come through, and they fell short. Joe Burrow had the ball in his hands when Mahomes hadn't won a Super Bowl in 2 years. Down, it was a tie game. Yeah, it was a tie game, ball in his hands, and couldn't get 10 yards. Josh had the ball in his hands back-to-back years. Down 3, or chance to steal, I think it was tie game and then down 3, whatever it is, and couldn't get 30 yards. Lamar didn't ever have the ball in his hands because his team only scored 7 points in that game or 10 points in that game, whatever it is. All those guys. And so in those, particularly the last 2 with Josh, does anybody think if that game were flipped, if Patrick got the ball with 5 minutes left, down 3, timeouts, everything, that he's coming away with 20 yards and 6 plays and a turnover on downs? And so I need, for me to have it open, I agree with you, Brew, it has been in the regular season team success and clutch play. But he has been individually better than those guys in the games that we historically judge quarterbacks by.
But usually, your stats do have to play some role.
Sure.
I hear you. And if he's mediocre in the regular season, they win the Super Bowl again, it is what it is. He's the best. But I think we all want to see the old Patrick Mahomes type numbers.
Outside of the top 10, it was C.J. Stroud and then Jordan Love. They were considered honorable mentions.
11 and 12.
Then these 6 guys
13, 14.
got top 10 votes. But I don't know if it was in this order.
Well, we know that 11 and 12 were.
Yeah, that's why they were considered honorable mentions.
So these guys are anywhere from 13 to 18.
Yeah, so this is Kyler, Purdy, Dak, Rodgers, Tua, and Bo Nix.
Yeah. Shout out
And then
Bo.
I just wrote, Nick, you
Bo
said
Nix got a top 10 vote?
Yeah, people like Bo Nix.
votes?
Remember he caught that
What?
touchdown? I just wrote, you want us to apologize.
No,
for something. I
it's
didn't
not
know what
us,
it was.
because Brew's thing is fluid.
Yeah,
Bruce
this is
fluid.
look because
How's it go?
and y'all mock me. Y'all mock me because from 5 to 15-ish is fluid.
15-ish.
Ish, yeah, absolutely.
It can get up to what?
Dak was 16 or 15. What was that? 15.
Dak was
17-ish?
Let me say this:
Wait,
It's fluid.
if you're mocking me,
I'm not Brew. I'm
but
fluid.
this
I
will
wanna
prove
attack
to
him,
you
not
guys that I'm right. If Purdy comes out and plays like he did 2 years ago. You're telling me people aren't going to be putting him in the top 10 and maybe closer to the top 5? So that's my point. It's fluid.
That's fine. Okay, that's fine. That's not, which is why I said I don't want to attack Brew.
Oops. What do I do?
2 weeks ago.
Read the news.
Brew, you'll agree. 2 weeks ago, there was a topic about CJ, another ranking, different one, had CJ ahead of Purdy.
All right.
And we did, is this fair? And Brew explained why he thought it was fair, and you smiled and were like, good point, Brew, I like that. Well done.
It was a good
And
point.
then I explained why I thought it was fair and why I think Purdy is, 14, 15, 16.
Yeah, fluid.
And Wilds did this. Give me your sheets of paper,
Oh,
please.
gee whiz.
Wilds did this. He took the sheet of paper we were on, he ripped it up from this little staple, and the camera went on him, and he was like, I don't want to talk about this. Let's talk about it. That's exactly what happened. And then it was because, and then he said, either on or off the air, he's like, your Purdy take enrages me. And I don't think we should discuss it. Now, we have the entire NFL basically saying, you know what our quarterback ranking is? Mahomes Mountain. It's almost person for person. It is exactly how I had it. And you take some major issue.
Kyler.
I have again. It's not left to
Kyler
right.
shouldn't be up
it's,
there.
It's not left to right. But if it were, he'd be 15th, and they have him 14th. And you were so. Are you as mad at them as you were at me?
No, for a few reasons. One, I don't know them, so they don't have any. You got some don't like you momentum. No, my issue is this. It's Purdy and Jalen Hurts are in the same corner of my brain of why I get mad. If there is no path to them becoming a top 5 quarterback, then we shouldn't discuss it. That's my issue. Jalen Hurts, the only thing that people are holding out is like, doesn't have the yards. Even if you do total yards, doesn't have the total yards. Other guys throw the ball more purely. I'm like, well, what if he goes up against a great defense, thwarts a dynasty, and wins Super Bowl MVP? It's like, you know what? We'll move him top 10. So, but I'm okay with it. But it does get me mad. If Purdy doesn't have a path, if he wins the Super Bowl and gets Super Bowl MVP, he's like, I don't know, 15.
You're arguing,
he was drafted last in the draft.
Wait a second. And I mean this sincerely. You're arguing against yourself right now.
Why?
Because you're actually the guy you don't like. Because he doesn't have a path to you where it's fair to drop him. Because the Jalen Hurts and Purdy going into this past year were kind of neck and neck in rankings. And then Jalen had this excellent year with team and individual success, played great in the playoffs. And now guys like me, who 4 months ago Jalen's mother was talking me down, give me a talking to, says, hey, fair's fair. He's got to be in the same discussion as Joe Burrow. Brock Purdy, on the other hand, had a terrible year. I know Brew doesn't think it was terrible. I think it was terrible. Your Mr. Quarterback wins. That says 6-9. And it says, so guess what? It's not that they don't have a path. It's that the paths they walked have to matter. You want the Purdy discussion.
I don't want Purdy to be top 10 right now.
Well, then why did you get mad at me for having him 14?
I don't think that's what it was. That's not what set me off.
Oh,
you think I'm going to be mad about 14?
Yes.
Who cares?
Yeah, you said we can't talk about it.
No, it was something else. It was something
it was that
like
CJ that I gave CJ the benefit of the doubt for the bad offensive line and his numbers being bad because he then played well in the playoffs. And I didn't give Purdy that because the team missed the playoffs in part because he didn't play that well.
And CJ was better than Purdy in high school.
Well, that part's undeniable. That part is undeniable.
the only win we have is Trevor Lawrence right now. That's the only thing that
where's
you've
Trevor?
seeded.
I haven't seeded anything.
Trevor wasn't even in
His
all
body
of your
would trade
ground.
him. He's got Travis Hunter now. I've seeded
You've
nothing.
seeded all the
I've
ground. We
seeded-
took
You
that
seeded.
land.
You've come back a little lately, but you seeded.
I never.
That is over.
You were calling him Trevor, not even just Trevor.
It's the
Trevor
Prince.
Lawrence.